Hey, it's Mazciel. Welcome back to my channel. Today I am filming my July TBR. I do want to do a little bit of a disclaimer and just let you guys know that I am pre-filming my summer TBR videos. I mentioned this in my June TBR video, which I'll link up here if you haven't seen it. But it's just a way for me to stay organized with all of the videos that I want to film this year. So without further ado, I'm going to get started. So I have 2 YA books and 2 adult fiction. I'm going to start off with the adult fiction books that I have. And the first book that I have to show you guys is The Immortalist by Chloe Benjamin. And this book has been on my radar for a really long time. I remember seeing it at the library. I think it's when they first got it in. And I was instantly drawn to it, obviously because of the cover. I think it's so pretty. And I was going to check it out, but I think I was checking out like a lot of books at the time. So I was like, I'll just read it later. And then it was recommended to me, so I decided I would finally pick it up. And this book takes place in the 60s in New York City, and it basically starts off when a woman shows up in town and she is claiming that she is a psychic and she can tell people how they're gonna die and when they're gonna die. And I believe that 4 people go to see her and they ask her when they're gonna die. They want to know their fortunes, and I believe they're either young adults or they are teenagers when they first go and ask her. And then this story basically just follows them throughout their life into adulthood, and it shows how their lives are impacted just by knowing when they are going to die. And when I was reading the inside cover of this, I instantly got They Both Die at the End by Adam Silvera vibes. If you guys have never read that book, go and check that out. See if it's something that you guys will enjoy reading, because I love that book and I just feel like this book will kind of have similar themes to it. So I am looking forward to reading this. Next, I have Animal Dreams by Barbara Kingsolver, and I mentioned in my previous video how I had a box set that I got from the library that had a couple of her books in them, and I really wanted to read them this summer. I did a book on haul earlier in the year, and I mentioned how I was decluttering my life, and these are some of the books that I decided to keep. If I don't enjoy them for whatever reason, or I just don't think that I will want to read them again in my life, then I will be donating these books. So this follows the character Cody, who returns back home to Arizona to help her father, who is suffering with his health. I saw online that her father had Alzheimer's, so I think that's what she's helping him with. And I believe that also she doesn't have like a very good relationship with her father, so going back brings back a lot of memories. So she is helping him, and at the same time dealing with all of these feelings that keep coming up and all of these memories. And it's also kind of a book about her finding herself, and it just sounds like a really interesting read. I mentioned in my previous video how these are the types of books that I really like to read during the summer, so I am looking forward to reading this. Also, look at the cover. I think it's so pretty. Next, I have Genuine Fraud by E. Lockhart, and I saw this book when I was at the library and I instantly picked it up. I read We Were Liars by E. Lockhart last year and I loved that book. I did not see the ending coming. I did not see the direction that that book was going, and I absolutely loved it. So I decided to pick this one up, and I believe that this one is also a mystery, and I am looking forward to reading this book. I believe that this book follows just one character or 2, because it has 2 on the inside of the cover, Imogen and Jewel, but I believe it might just follow Imogen. This book is about mystery, murder, romance, and also some disappearances. So I'm looking forward to reading this. It is a really short book, so I am wondering how all of that is going to fit into this, but I am looking forward to reading this. If you guys have ever read We Were Liars by E. Lockhart, let me know down below, because I love that book. Next, I have A Court of Mist and Fury by Sarah J. Maas. I mentioned in my previous video how I wanted to reread some of Sarah J. Maas's books, and this is the sequel to A Court of Thorns and Roses, and I love these books so much. So in the first book, I'll mention the first book because I don't really want to give that many spoilers, and if I talk about the second book, then I feel like you guys will get some spoilers. So the first book starts off with Farah, who is the main character, and she is in the woods and she ends up killing a wolf. She takes it back home, and this beast shows up at her house and basically wants like not revenge, but he wants somebody to pay for the death of the wolf. So the beast ends up taking Feyre to the land where all of the fairies live, and when she gets there, she realizes that he's not really a beast, but like a lethal fairy. And at first she doesn't really like them, but then slowly she develops feelings for him, and then things get a little crazy, and there is a lot that happens in that book. I don't want to say too much about it. And in my opinion, I think that this book is a lot darker and a lot more suspenseful than the first one. I think that with this one, you get to see a lot more of Feyre's mental health and how she is not exactly in a good place after all of the events that happened in the first book. So this one is my favorite out of the three. You also get to meet a lot of new characters in this book, so yeah, I really like this book. So that is it for my July TBR. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, make sure you give it a thumbs up and subscribe, and let me know what books you guys are reading during July. And I will see you guys soon with another video. Bye.